What's up, guys? Jacob here. So I read this ranking study compiled by ESPN a couple days ago called the ESPN Fan Happiness Index. I kind of wanted to share my thoughts on that. So this study basically looked at all of the college football programs in FBS right now, and then rank them from 1 to 128 based on 6 factors. So those factors were program power, rivalry dominance, coaching stability, recruiting trends, revenue growth, and Twitter buzz. And so it kind of used data to throw all those together, give them different weightings, and then spit out rankings for what are the best and what are the worst, happiest and least happy fan bases in the U.S. So the top 5 were Ohio State, Florida State, Alabama, Louisville, and Kansas State. Then the bottom 5 were Kent State, Rice, UConn, Idaho, and Texas State. So some marquee programs at the top there. But just in terms of sports business and the implications there, I thought it was interesting that there's a lot of potential to be unlocked here, I think. And this study kind of just barely scratches the surface in terms of like how important is it for a fan base to be happy. And from like a ticket sales and attendance perspective, if you're trying to get more fans to come to your games, how do these 6 different factors kind of play into what fills seats for your particular team? And I think it's interesting because you can have different teams that may factor in different metrics more importantly. So, like Alabama, for example, they may not be worried about revenue as much because football is so embedded in culture in the South. But for a school like San Diego State or Utah or like Northwestern or something, maybe those schools rely a little bit more on the facilities, or they need to have good recruiting classes in order to get people to come to their games, or they need to have popular coaches or players. So I think there's just different things to take into consideration for these teams, and I think there's a lot of potential to be unlocked here. And then my last thought was, at what point does fan happiness not really matter anymore? So like, is there do you start to get diminishing returns after you reach a certain level of happiness? So let's say your fans are like 75% happy. Is there going to be a huge difference in attendance at your football games between like a 75 and like a 95% level of like fan happiness? So I think there's more work to be done there and investigated, but I think there's something certainly to be said for teams trying to use these fan happiness rankings to take a look at their own fan attendance and their ticket sales and see if they can adjust this stuff.